talked about the meaning of jahl here is not lack of knowledge. The meaning of jahl here is we're going to talk about, discuss adam al-hilm. Adam al-hilm, meaning to be loud and boisterous and obnoxious while one is fasting. Obnoxious behavior is also something that one should avoid and abstain from while he's fasting. Meaning someone screaming and hollering, yo, 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 come here, what's up, while he's fasting. He's not supposed to do that. He's not supposed to do that, and that's also from jahl. We'll talk about that and all the details of it, inshaAllah. فَلَيْسَ لِلَّهِ حَاجَةٌ فِي أَن يَضَعَ طَعَامَهُ وَشَرَابَهُ. Allah Ta'ala is not in need of him leaving off his food and drink. طيب, we said that the meaning of Ramadan is a madrasa. It's a school. It's not just for one to abstain from food and drink, as we talked about last lesson. As we know, those matters that break down, as far as the matters or the type of affairs that break one's fast, breaks down to two categories. The first category is what they call mufattirat ma'nawiyya, as we discussed. Mufattirat ma'nawiyya. I'm sorry. Mufattirat hissiyya. The tangible type of affairs or things that break one's fast, that can be what? Seen, smelled, touched, heard, or felt. Meaning food, drink, and the meaning of food and drink. When we say meaning of food and drink, meaning something that has nutrients that one injects in his bloodstream. Something that is injected in the bloodstream, if it has nutrients, they will break the fast and it will nullify it. Those type of fasts, those type of affairs are called mufattirat hissiyya, meaning those tangible matters that break your fast, that you can see, smell, touch, you can hear in certain instances, and you can feel it, you can touch it. Food, drink is clear. Food and drink, and what is the meaning of food and drink? What is done through injections. What is done through injections, if it gives nutrients to the body, then it nullifies one's fast. That's the first category. We're also going to talk about what is put inside of the body and what is removed from the body. Because there's certain things, if it's put in the body, it breaks the fast. And there's certain things that if it's removed from the body, it breaks the fast. If it's removed from the body. Such as one intentionally taking blood out of his body in huge quantities or copious amounts will break one's fast. Such as donation of blood, or one donating blood, and what is the correct opinion, which we'll discuss inshallah, what they call cupping. Fasting while one is getting cupped, or removal of blood, due to it being a form of remedy or cure for certain illnesses or ailments. That also likewise breaks one's fast. We'll discuss that inshallah. But although all what we just mentioned now is from the first category, which is those tangible affairs that break the fast, which is called mufattirat hissiyya. Hissiyya, when we say hissi, meaning what is tangible by the five senses. In regards to now, what Ramadan truly was legislated for was not just this matter, and that's it. A lot of people think, as we said, fasting is from abstination of food and drink, and that's basically it. Rather, it has a deeper meaning than that, as the great Imam Al-Albani, rahimahullah, that he mentioned in the tafsir of the ayah. Allah Ta'ala says in his book, he says, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu kutiba alaykum as-siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. La'allakum tattaqun. He says, that has been prescribed upon you, fasting has just been prescribed those before you. He says, in order that you attain taqwa. The meaning of taqwa here, meaning that you abstain from evil statements and evil actions. So that brings us to another category, in which is hard upon a lot of individuals and people these days, which is the second category of what they consider the affairs that break your fast. But it's not necessarily breaking it, as we discussed last class, but it will diminish and decrease your reward to the point as if you did not fast. And that second category, brothers and sisters, is called mufattirat ma'nawiyya. Sheikh, don't just focus. I'm explaining the book. I got you. I've been doing this for like over a decade, if not more. I've been involved in Dawah since the 90s. I know exactly what I'm doing. طيب. And I've been around all the du'ats. I know probably, I knew Abu Hassan, me and Abu Hassan known each other since 1995. Trust me, a lot of the du'ats, we are very close, and we know, even though a lot of people don't know what's going on, but we just act stupid. So people who thinks they think we're separated or divided. We just act like it so you guys can fall for the trap. But at any rate, what we're saying, Sheikh, this hadith also brings us to another matter which a lot of people find it very difficult to leave off during the month of Ramadan, which is the second category, which is what they call mufattirat ma'nawiyah. Those intangible matters that they consider it from those affairs that break your fast. Technically, it does not. But they still call it mufattirat, from those matters that are intangible. What do they mean intangible? Meaning you cannot see it, but it does affect your fasting, such as sins, whether it be in statements or actions. This is the matter which is very difficult upon the people in the month of Ramadan, is to abstain from evil statements, vain speech, or obscene speech, or explicit speech, or vulgar speech, or profanity, or argumentation, or bickering, or hollering, or screaming, or some type of conflict or confrontation. All of that is prohibited, especially while one is fasting, in order to teach one how to what? How to discipline himself and how to control himself until he comes out of Ramadan being a better person as far as in his behavior and in his character and in his morals. And this is why Allah Ta'ala said at the end of the ayah, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, in order that you attain taqwa, meaning that fasting is not from abstination from food and drink and your desires for a moment in time. It's also for another affair in which a lot of people, it's either difficult upon them or they're unaware of it or they're heedless of it, which is, like we said, to avoid sins in general, whether they be in statements or actions. Those type of mufattirat, those type of affairs, they say, it's the second category, those affairs that break your fast that are intangible. But we said the second category technically does not break your fast. But it does diminish the reward and it does affect your fast to the point as if you did not fast at all, meaning you have no reward left of it. But one still will continue to fast and it removes the obligation, even though you might be deprived of the reward due to this matter of what the Messenger of Allah said in this hadith of Abu Hurairah, which is in your books. من لم يدع قول الزور والعمل به والجهل فليس لله حاجة في أن يضع طعامه وشرابه. He says, whoever does not leave off evil statements and evil actions and jahl. Like we talked about the meaning of jahl, we're going to discuss it, inshallah. It does not mean adam al-ilm, it means adam al-hilm, meaning not having forbearance. It means not being forbearing. If someone was to be confrontational or wants to confront him, or one wants to have some type of verbal confrontation with him, not to return back similar to what he came with of evil. Not to do it in reciprocal. That's what we'll talk about, inshallah. Fine. So he said the second category diminishes the reward. It can render it incomplete to the point as if one did not fast in the first place. It's as if one did not fast in the first place. But one would continue his fast. You'll find athar of the Salaf talking about how this affair is the most important of affairs during one's fast. Not only just food and drink, but something else that is way more complicated that some people cannot leave off. As you'll find the great Sahabi Ali ibn Abi Talib, he said in an athar, which is in Musannaf ibn Abi Shaybah, he said, ليس الصيام من الأكل والشرب ولكن من الكذب والباطل واللغو. As the great Imam from the A'immat al-Khulafa al-Rashideen al-Mahdiyin, he said that fasting is not from eating or abstination or avoiding eating food and drink, and that's it. However, it's from avoiding kadhib, wal-batil, wal-laghwi. It's avoiding lying, basically every type of statement of evil. Kadhib wal batil wal laghwi, indulging in false, obscene, vulgar behavior and acts. And useless, vain speech. Useless, vulgar, or vain speech. You'll find also the great Sahabi Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu, where he said, in that author which is Al-Bukhari Muslim, he said, إذا كان يوم صيامك فليصم سمعك وبصرك وصيامك عن المحارم والآثام ودع أذى الخادم وفي رواية ودع أذى الجار ويكون عليك يوم صيامك وقار وسكينة يوم صيامك ولا تجعل يوم صيامك وفطرك سواء. The authority Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Bukhari Muslim, where Jabir ibn Abdullah said, وإذا صمت فليصم سمعك وبصرك ولسانك عن الكذب والمآثم ودع أذى الخادم وفي رواية أذى الجار. He says, if you fast, then let your eyes fast. فليصم سمعك وبصرك ولسانك. Let your eyes fast, your ears fast, and your tongue fast. Meaning, to control your eyes, to not let them look at something in which Allah has made unlawful and forbidden. And also your ears, not to lend your ears to things or affairs that Allah has made forbidden, especially during the time of your fast, especially. And also let your tongue fast, meaning let it refrain from saying statements that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forbidden. We'll get inside the details of it. Then Jabir ibn Abdullah goes on to say, he says, وَلِيَكُنْ عَلَيْكَ وَقَارٌ وَسَكِينَةٌ يَوْمَ صِيَامِكَ. And let it be upon you within yourself, he said, tranquility and serenity, meaning making yourself ease and overbearing and overlooking for certain behaviors or certain type of acts and things that people do, meaning don't retaliate. If someone comes to you with ignorance, not to follow it up with another evil, or evil worse, or saying something more what? Evil, as we're talking about. So he says, let it be upon you serenity and relaxation and sakina on the day when you're fasting, and don't make your day when you're fasting and the day when you are, do not make it equal. There's a lot of athar of the Salaf from the Sahaba and other than them who mention about the second category. We also will talk about the narrations again upon Abu Hurairah. There's a lot of narrations which comes to Siyam Ramadan upon Abu Hurairah, such as this hadith. There's another hadith of Abu Hurairah where he said that the message of Allah sallallahu is authentic. Also, Imam al-Albani also authenticated. Where he said, he says, رُبَّ صَائِمٍ أو رُبُّ صَائِمٍ ليس له من صيامه إلا الجوع ورب قائما ليس له من قيامه إلا السهر وفي رواية ورب صائما حظه من صيامه الجوع والعطش ورب قائم ليس له من حظ قيامه إلا السهر. There's another narration of Abu Hurairah. He says, how many people who have fast that they have nothing of their fast except mere hunger? And how many people that fast and they don't have anything of them standing in prayer except mere tiredness, or exhaustion, or weariness? There's another narration Abu Hurairah mentioned and said, he says how many people have fast, their reward, their portion of the reward of fasting was nothing except what? Them starving and being thirsty. That's it. That's all they had. And how many people who have stood in prayer and they had nothing of a portion of reward except mere sahar, them feeling sleepy or tired or weary or exhausted or what have you. That's it. That's all they have a portion of this type of ibadah. Why, everyone? Either due to one or two things. Either they fell into evil actions or evil statements while they were fasting, or they were not doing it out of ihtisab, meaning having a strong resolve in order to do it for Allah ta'ala, where they contemplated the reward with Him subhanahu jalla fil ula. Rather, you'll find some people just have the intention just to say, let's get it done and out the way. Not having the strong resolve for the reward that Allah has prepared for the one who does this great aspect or this great type of worship. You have some people that just said, let's just get this done. Come on, I can't wait till the sun goes down. That's not fasting out of ihtisab. It's not fasting out of having that strong resolve and that strong desire and that eagerness for what Allah has prepared of a tremendous reward. So those could be affairs that will what? Render your fast either unacceptable with Allah, may Allah preserve us from that, or deprivation of the reward, till it renders it incomplete to the point where there's nothing left. So like we said, Ya Ma'ashal Ikhwan, the second category is very important, which a lot of people during the month of Ramadan are heedless and unaware of. They think that it's just abstain from food and drink, or the meaning of food and drink, and I'm good. I'm all right. Rather, like we said, the second thing is what is very important, because that is what will teach you how to be an upright person after the month is over. That will carry along or carry with you after the month is concluded. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So we said about the mufattirat al-ma'nawiyya. So like we said, we're going to give examples of the second category. So now we want to give examples. Like for example, the second category. Example of the second category such as insulting someone, or cursing at someone, or backbiting, or tail carrying. All of that is statements of evil. Statements of evil. If you want to sum it up and keep it concise, you can say that قول الزور is كل قول محرم. Every statement that's unlawful and forbidden. Every statement that's unlawful and forbidden. Whether it be insulting, cursing, raising one's voice, tail carrying, obnoxious behavior, vulgar speech, obscene speech. All of those affairs are impermissible. It's not only while you're fasting, but even outside the month of Ramadan. Throughout the whole year, that type of behavior is unacceptable. But as far as in the month of Ramadan, that's akid. It's even more emphasized that you abstain from it. It's even more emphasized and more incumbent upon the person to abstain from it, especially during the month of Ramadan. So those type of, if you want to just keep it concise, like we said, that it means that every qawl that's muharram, every statement that's unlawful or forbidden, is considered from the second category, or from what the Messenger of Allah ﷺ mentioned and said in Abu Hurairah. He says, whoever doesn't leave off qawl az-zur. Qawl az-zur. So we'll talk about the word zur. Zur in the Arabic language also means izwirar. Izwirar means inhiraf, means to deviate. That the meaning of zur also means to deviate, means inhiraf or haraf. Harafa or zara or izwirar means inharaf, to deviate, to be inclined towards something incorrect. Izwirar can also mean, as we know, zur in the Arabic language can also mean the non-Muslims' holidays. The non-Muslim holidays. As you'll find, Allah Ta'ala says in His book, وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَشْهَدُونَ الزُّورَ وَإِذَا مَرُّوا بِاللَّغْوِ مَرُّوا كِرَامًا. As Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Al-Furqan, He says, those who do not witness zur. If you go back to the tafsir, Ibn Abbas says, those who do not witness or participate in the disbelieving holidays. In the disbelieving holidays, meaning participate in their celebrations. You bring a Christmas tree in your house. You bring Easter eggs in the Easter basket in your house. All that is from indulging in the zur, in which is participating in the non-Muslim holidays. So that's from the meanings of what? Zur. As you'll find, like we said, these are from the narration, or from the ayat to the book of Allah, where Ahl Ilm utilized to show. It's time for the event already? No, it couldn't be. We got 15 more minutes. Oh. Those who do not witness a zur, the zur means evil statements, of course, based upon the hadith here. It also can mean al-a'yad al-kafira, the disbelieving holidays, or the non-Muslim holidays, to avoid them and to not indulge or participate, or indulge in some type of participation of their holidays. Meaning bringing a Christmas tree in your house, or Easter eggs in your house, or Valentine's hanging up especially Cupid's arrow and all this other foolishness that all came from the Greeks, all the paganism of the Greeks, in which the Christians, that they don't realize that it's all mixed. For verily, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that is also incumbent upon one to avoid. طيب. So like we said, as far as it regards to the mima and ghiba, as far as backbiting and tail carrying and insulting someone, hollering and screaming, and even being confrontational with someone and arguing purposely with someone or insulting someone, all of these affairs would diminish your reward. Oh. Tafadal. Where's Camden? It's the second day he's there. It's not like it. Oh. طيب. So then it says in the second part of the hadith, what does it say, everyone? Al-amala bihi. Not only just evil statements, but also evil what? Actions. Look in the hadith in your books, everyone. As it says, whoever doesn't leave off. Let me see, Sheikh. I'll find it for you. You found it, did you? Did you find it? 538. You found it far on. 222. Yeah, he was a little bit up. Right there at the bottom. Right there, Sheikh. طيب. So you see the second part of the hadith of the message of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The second one is what, everyone? وَالْعَمَلُ بِهِ. وَالْعَمَلُ بِهِ. Evil actions is also to be avoided during the month of Ramadan. Evil actions. Now I wanted to bring some awareness or shed some light on certain statements that the people do during the month of Ramadan. The month of Ramadan, he says, oh, the day we're good. At night, now we could go return to what we're doing. No, the meaning of these hadith is for the whole month, because every day and every night is sacred in the month of Ramadan. Every night and every day is sacred. So I'll say, I fasted today, I abstained from haram during the day. At night, I'm going to go see my girlfriend tonight. It's not fasting anymore. No. For verily now, that month, which is a sacred month, the holiest month of the year, for verily it's incumbent upon one to abstain from evil actions during the day and the night. Both. It's not just la'ib where a person will now play games and say, I just fasted during the day, I'm good. For verily, doing evil types or evil acts during the day and the night, it's incumbent upon the Muslim to abstain from it in all of the time of Ramadan. Hoping that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept his actions. And one having fear that he did something or committed an act in the month of Ramadan that maybe might have been a reason for Allah not accepting his actions or his fast. So one has fear. So that's the reason why he fears Allah ta'ala while he's fasting and while he's what? Not fasting, after he broke it when the sun sets. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? So a lot of people do think that. The month of Ramadan, I fasted during the day. I didn't call my girlfriend for the daytime. I was on social media putting people in DMs trying to get to know girls. And girls trying to talk to different men. Because now women now become like men these days. So they act like them. They have different sex partners like them. It's just disgusting now these days. To the point, like we said, it's just absolute chaos. So now during this month, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, back in the times of old, women found it disgraceful that they be with 30 or 50 or 60 or 80 different men. It was disgraceful. It was disgusting. Women used to find that very, very repulsive, that they was with 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80, 90, 10 men or 100 men. That was disgraceful. Now it's the opposite. Now women find it praiseworthy. You find that praiseworthy. That you're with all these different men. It's the opposite now. Which is absolute disgusting, to show you how what they call intikas al-fitr. How the fitrah, the natural disposition, have become switched. And has become totally warped. It's something strange. Very, very what? Obscene and disgusting behavior. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve our daughters and our children, our community from that. But as far as in regards for the month of Ramadan, even at the nighttime, a person would say, I didn't smoke weed during the day, I'm going to smoke it at night. No, you're supposed to avoid it all the month of Ramadan and outside the month of Ramadan. So inshallah, if Allah give you tawfiq in the month of Ramadan, He'll give you tawfiq outside the month of Ramadan. So you can what? Refrain and stop doing it. For all those affairs are coming upon one to what? To avoid. In the month of Ramadan and outside the month of Ramadan and during the day of Ramadan and at the night of Ramadan. So it's not just what? Specifically only for one part or portion of the day or at the end of the day. Or at the beginning of the day, excuse me. Fine. So we said, just to make everything simple, where the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Amala bihi, evil actions. So that's just to make everything easy. The meaning of Al-Amalu bihi, meaning kullu fi'lin muharram. Every evil action. Every evil action is what? Is impermissible, especially while one is fasting. Every evil action. Doesn't matter whether you stole, whether you're stealing, or you're listening to music, or you're going out to date with your girlfriend, or you're also committing an act where you're hitting someone or abusing someone, or you're physically hurting someone or oppressing someone. All these matters are impermissible. If you're dealing in riba or dealing in evil, impermissible transactions and business transactions, all these affairs will render and diminish the reward of your fast, and it will affect it. So one should be very aware of his statements and his actions, especially during that month. It's like we said, no one wants to be in a danger where that he does an act or say a statement that might be a reason for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not accepting his fast. And basically he fasted for what? Basically no benefit. He just left off food and drink, but the ultimate reward in which one seeks, which is his Lord accepting it, that is the ultimate humiliation if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rejects it. So that is the reason why one should guard his fast as much as possible by avoiding evil actions and evil statements. Then the message of Allah, if you notice in the third part, it says, Al-Jahl. Al-Jahl. Jahl does not mean Adam al-Ilm. As we know, Jahl breaks down to two categories, as everyone knows. One is Adam al-Ilm, and the second is Adam al-Hilm. Adam al-Ilm, then you have Adam al-Hilm. First meaning of Jahl is lack of knowledge. And the second meaning of Jahl is lack of forbearance. Lack of forbearance. Adam al-Hilm. The meaning of what we're speaking about now, what's applicable to this narration here is what, everyone? Is Adam al-Hilm, not being forbearing. Meaning someone comes to you, insults you, wants to have some type of verbal confrontation with you. Then it's incumbent upon you to do exactly what the message of Allah clearly said. فَإِنْ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَكَ أَوْ قَاتَلَ أَوْ سَابَّهُ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَ فَلْيَقُولْ إِنِّي صَائِمٌ إِنِّي صَائِمٌ. In another narration he says, we're going to stick with this one first. He says, well, in the first part of it. Let me get to the first part. Now, alhamdulillah, just remember. He said, إِنَّ عَمَلَ بِنِي آدَمْ لَهُ إِلَّا الصِّيَامِ فَإِنَّهُ لِي وَأَنَا أَجْزِي بِهِ فَإِنْ كَانَ صَوْمُ يَوْمُ صَوْمِ أَحَدِكُمْ فَلَا يَرْفُثْ وَلَا يَصْخَبْ فَإِنْ سَابَهُ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَ فَلْيَقُلْ إِنِّي صَائِمٌ ولا خلوف فم الصائم عند الله أطيب عند الله من ريح المسك وللصائم فرحتان يفرحهما فرحا أو فرحة عند فطره وفرحة عند لقاء ربه. To the end of it. At any rate, the hadith of Bukhari Muslim. The first part of the hadith, it says, what, everyone? It says that verily the actions of Ibn Adam are all for him except for me. Except fast. For verily is for me, exclusively for me. And I'll repay and give it a reward by it. Meaning that fasting really shows the true sincerity of the slave between him and his Lord. Because no one in actuality knows who's fasting except Allah. No one. Anyone could come out and fake. They can fake all they want. But no one truly knows who's truly fasting except Allah. How many people know when their wife or their family is not around, he didn't go in the refrigerator and he did something to break his fast and still go outside and portray it as if he's still what? Fasting. So that's what we're saying. The one who truly knows who's fasting is Allah. That's the reason why Allah Ta'ala gave a tremendous reward based upon it, because it truly shows the sincerity that you have between you and your Lord. It truly displays and manifests your true sincerity of what you want of reward, because no one knows who's truly fasting except Allah Ta'ala, and that's the reason why he's prepared a tremendous reward for it. That's the reason why it's so tremendous. Then in the part of what I'm saying that's correlating with the third meaning of the hadith is where it says, he says, if someone comes and insults you or curses at you or raises voice at you or uses some type of vulgar speech or profanity in your face, he said, فَإِنْ أَحَدٌ أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ, and he fights him or insults him, let him say, I am fasting, I am fasting. You'll find that the great Imam Ibn Uthaymeen said in regards to this hadith, he says two things. We'll bring it down later. Matter of fact, we can talk about it now. The first benefit is, he says, is to let the one know who's insulting him, to let him know. Well, basically, the first thing is the strongest opinion. He says that a person should say it verbally and audible, so the one who's insulting you can hear it. Because some of Ahl Ilm say you should say it secretly. They say secretly, meaning to remind yourself that you are fasting. But what's the strongest opinion is to say it loudly, or not loudly, but to the point where the person who's what? Insulting you can hear it. That I'm fasting, I'm fasting. To say it to the point where the person who's insulting you can hear it. Not to say it screaming or being boisterous, but to the person who's saying that you're saying it to, it's clear to him that you're what? Fasting. He said, number one, he said, for the first reason is, he says, to show that I am not following up your ignorance with something else. Or, he says, that I'm not saying something back of insult because I'm not able. I'm able. But the only reason why I'm doing it is because I'm doing it out of worship of Allah Ta'ala. Meaning I'm not doing it just because I'm incapable. I'm capable of retaliating. Maybe even saying something worse. Wal-iyadhu billah. But I'm refraining from doing that out of worship of Allah Ta'ala. So that's a reminder of the person, and it reminds you what? Yourself. It reminds yourself, and that's the second benefit. And I'm going to just, matter of fact, I'll just, let me just read it quickly. I'll read it quickly, everyone. It's الفائدة الأولى بيان أن المشتوم لم يترك مقابلة الشاتم إلا لكونه صائما لا لعجزه عن المقابلة لأنه لو تركه عجزا عن المقابلة لاستهان به الآخر وصار في ذلك ذلا له فإذا قال إني صائم كأنه يقول أنا لا أعجز عن مقابلتك وأن أبين من عيوبك أكثر مما بينت من عيوبي لكني امرؤ صائم. First benefit, I'll just said it to everyone. In it is the clarification that the one who's being insulted, he didn't leave following up or doing as a reciprocal of the one who insulted him. The only reason why he didn't retaliate is because he was what? Fasting. Not because he was what? Incapable. So that's the first benefit he mentioned. You write this down? Huh? You did? Not because he what? Because I'm incapable of retaliation or following it up or do some type of reciprocal with you, what you did. Because if you left it off, let's just say, for example, out of incapability of retaliation or what have you, he said maybe the other person would start to what? He would start to humiliate you. Would start to find you that, man, he's scared. He's an idiot or he's a coward. Nah. He said for that, in this instance, it maybe might be considered some type of humiliation. Some type. So verily, he goes on to say, but if he says, I'm fasting, it's as if he's saying, I am abstaining from this type of behavior, not because I'm incapable, that I'm able to follow it up with what you've done, or out of not having the ability to retaliate, but however, I'm clarifying to you that I am fasting, and this is the reason why I'm avoiding this type of what? Behavior. He says, I am capable, of course, you, for example, now you telling me, clarifying to me my shortcomings, I could clarify to you yours, but however, I'm not doing it because I'm a person that is fasting. So that's the first benefit. Second benefit, he says, تذكير هذا الرجل بأن الصائم لا يشاتم أحدا وربما يكون هذا الشاتم صائما كما لو كان ذلك في رمضان وكلاهما في الحضر سواء حتى يكون قوله هذا متضمنا لنهيه عن الشتم وتوبيخه إياه. To the end of it. He says it's also to remind the person who's insulting you that you should be fasting too. You're likewise fasting. You shouldn't be insulting anyone. He says, and the person insulting, remind him that he's fasting. Especially if that's in Ramadan. And both of them are not, of course, both of them are present in the same vicinity or what have you. He said, for verily this statement, I am fasting, is as if it contains a prohibition for one to refrain from insulting. And that person from insulting and saying speech that is not acceptable or forbidden or impermissible. And also likewise for him to refrain from likewise insulting anyone. To the end of it. طيب. So that's the reason why, like we said, this is the strongest opinion. I think somebody's calling your phone. This is the what? This is the strongest opinion in regards to this hadith. However, let's return back to the hadith of Abu Hurairah at the bottom of the page in Buloogh Al-Maraam. So what is the meaning of the word jahl? Meaning that you do not follow up or you do not retaliate in the same manner in which a person came to you with in order that you fall into similar to what they fell into. So it's incumbent upon one, when especially while he's fasting, to be forbearing. And to not be what? Vengeful. Or to not be what? A person that is vindictive, especially during the time while he's what? Fasting. To follow up one evil with another evil. Fine. So we want to say, just in summary, that one should take the what? High ground, especially during the time while he's fasting. Fine. So that's the what? Benefit of the hadith. I'll be reading quickly what the great Imam Ibn Fawzan even mentions. He says, وَالْعَمْلُ بِهِ الْعَمَلْ بِالْمُحَرَّمِ لأن المحرم قد يكون بالقول وقد يكون بالفعل كالضرب والقتل والتعدي على الناس بالفعل هذا من الزور لأنه بغير حق والجهل معناه السفة وهو عدم الحلم فلا يسفه الصائم بل يكون حليما وقورا فالجهل المراد به هنا السفة وعدم الحلم كما قال الله تبارك وتعالى إنما التوبة على الله للذين يعمل السوء بجهالة وليس المراد بالجهل هنا عدم العلم فإن الذي لا يعلم لا يؤاخذ ولكن المراد بالجهل هنا السفة فالسفه ينافي الصيام ولا يليق بالصائم أن يسفه مع السفهاء بل يتجنب هذا. He says evil actions while one is fasting, meaning actions that are forbidden and unlawful. Because what is unlawful and forbidden can be in statements and in actions together, such as hitting someone, or killing someone, or fighting someone, or attacking someone in actions. And similar to that in speech, without due right. Then he goes on to say, then he says jahl. And the meaning of jahl here is a safa, to act in a foolish manner. To act like a fool, basically. A safa, because it comes from the word safi. Safi means someone is like a fool, which is the opposite of hilm, which is the opposite of being forbearing. For verily, a person who's fasting does not act in a foolish manner, does not act like a fool. Rather, he's forbearing and he's tranquil. He's tranquil and serene. For verily, jahl, what is intended by it, is foolishness and lack of forbearance. And what is intended here, what is not intended here of jahl is what is the opposite of one lacking knowledge, meaning ignorance where one does not have knowledge. That's not what's intended here. He said, because if a person doesn't have knowledge, he's not held accountable. In most cases, he's not held accountable if he doesn't know. However, what is intended by jahl is foolishness. And foolishness contradicts siyam, and is not befitting that the one fasting, that he acts in a foolish manner with other people who are foolish. With other people who are sufaha. Other people who are foolish. Rather, he abstains from all of this. Look to the hadith at the last part where it says that Allah is not in need. A person would say, what do you mean Allah is not in need? What is the meaning of the hadith? The meaning of the hadith, ya ma'ashar al-ikhwah, is that this is the type of fast that Allah does not want. This is the type of fast that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want from his servants. This fast that has this type of evil, wicked behavior, whether it be verbal or in actions or statements. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want this type of fast. So it's not just abstination from food and drink, but especially in watching what you say and how you conduct yourself and how you act during the time while you fast. Is also incumbent upon one to be very what? At ease, relaxed, serene, tranquil, and be forbearing. And not to be confrontational and not to be argumentative. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? I think it's argumentative. Argumentative. Abdul Mateen was very probably correct. Argumentative. I don't think it's argumentative. Argumentative. I don't have no problem correcting me. See, myself, I don't have no problem with it. It just makes me better. The more you get corrected, the more you better. You better. Everybody asks you, AbdurRazzaaq, how you get your Arabic? That's because I used to make 1,000 mistakes in my Arabic. And someone used to always correct me until you get strong. Similar to that in your knowledge. You make it, especially in English. It's English, khalas. You tell me it's wrong, I'll correct it. And that's how you get strong. Right. So you're not afraid to make mistakes, you get strong. You're afraid to make mistakes, you'll stay weak. طيب. So you'll find, ya ma'ashal ikhwa, that a person abstains from being argumentative. Not argumentative. Argumentative, I think that's correct. Somebody check the English dictionary for me. Especially while one is fasting. طيب. So the meaning of that Allah is not in need, what is the meaning of it? That Allah is not in need of his fast. A person knows that Allah Ta'ala, first, he does not have the characteristic of haja, need at all. So why is it mentioned in the hadith? What's the meaning? What's the meaning? KB? Huh? Basically, just to sum it up, this is not the fast that Allah wants from his servant. This type of fast. That's the meaning of it. It says, أن هذا الصيام لا يريده الله لأن الله إنما يريد الصوم الصحيح الخالي عما يخل به. That verily Allah, he does not want this type of fast. He wants a fast that's correct and sound and that is free and void of these type of what? Affairs that the Messenger of Allah just mentioned in that narration. Which is a fast that is void of what? Evil speech and evil what? Actions. Fadl me, I'm sorry. You understand, Suhail? You just say, just to say, Allah. Shalom Muhammad Rasulullah. Watch your face. الله أكبر الله أكبر. هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وضعث مقام محمود الذي وعده. جيد. So the meaning of KB or KD? How can you call it KD? It's Caden. Oh, that was your last name. So KDB. طيب. So you said in regards to Al-Khali that a person wants a fast that's correct and sound, that is free. Read your head. That is free and void of what? All what is mentioned in the hadith here. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Is it clear? Everyone with me or are they not with me? Right. So it says that this is the type of fast that Allah does not want, nor is Allah pleased with. And that's the meaning of this narration. Even though Allah Ta'ala is free of any type of what? of anything that the slaves or the ibad that they put forth of actions. Allah is free from it. Allah is free of its need, excuse me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free of its need. Allah ta'ala clearly says in the hadith al-Qudsi, He says, Ya ibadi, innaka lan tablughu naf'i fatanfa'uni. Wa ya ibadi lan tablughu durri fatadurruni. He says, Yo, my slaves, O my ibad, verily you are not what? Attain to benefit, or if you want to set out to try to benefit me, you cannot benefit me. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything that the ibad, that they do of obedience and uprightness and righteousness, does not increase Allah's dominion in anything in the least. And that's clearly in the hadith, as we know. لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أتقى قلب رجل واحد منكم فلا يزيد ذلك في ملك شيئا. ويا عبادي لو أن أولكم وآخركم وإنسكم وجنكم كانوا على أفجر قلب رجل واحد منكم لا ينقص ذلك مما عندي إلا كما تنقص المخيط إذا أدخل البحر. يا عبادي إنما هي أعمالكم أحصيها لكم ثم أوفيكم إياها فمن وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه. As it says in the hadith. It says, Oh my ibad, it was the first of you, the last of you, and the ins of you, and the jinn of you. They were upon the most righteous of men from amongst you. He said, that would not increase anything in my kingdom. That would not increase in my kingdom anything in the least. Oh, my servants, even if the first of you, the last of you, and the ins of you, and the jinn of you, they are upon the most evil and wretched heart from amongst you. He said, that would not decrease anything of what I have, except similar to what you will understand as an example of a little what? Needle that's entered inside the ocean. Does a little needle inside the ocean, does it decrease anything at least? No, it doesn't. And Allah's example is greater than that. So you understand what it's greater and it's complete in all aspects. So that's what we said. Ultimately, the benefit of the ibad is all for themselves. We do not benefit Allah in the least. We do not increase anything in Allah. We do not increase with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala anything in the least. Rather, everything we do is for our own what? Benefit. And everything we do against ourselves is harmful against our own selves. And it's harmful against our own souls. No more, no less. طيب. But however, in this hadith, we said that the meaning of it, it says this is not the siyam that Allah will accept if He does it in this manner. If you fast in this manner, this is the type of siyam that Allah Ta'ala does not want. And as a result of it, it could be the means, or it could be the reason of why your siyam is not what? It's not accepted. May Allah protect us from that. Is it clear what I'm saying now, everyone? طيب. Now we'll move on to the next hadith and then we'll stop, inshaAllah. The hadith of Aisha radiallahu anha, if you look to the next narration in your books, it says, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقبل وهو صائم ويباشر وهو صائم ولكنه أملككم لإربه متفق عليه واللفظ لمسلم وزاد في رواية في رمضان. The authority Aisha radiallahu anha, that the message of Allah, that he used to kiss his family, he used to kiss his wives while he was fasting. And he used to yubashiru. That's another narration. Yubashiru, that he used to also caress them and hug them. Mubashara is something that's even more. We'll discuss that and give details. It means the touching of skin, which comes from the word bashara. It says yubashiru wa huwa sa'im. We'll talk about it, don't worry. However, he was the most controlling of those amongst you of his desires. He had the most control. He was the most amongst you of those who could control his desires. So is it clear what I'm saying so far? طيب. Before we get into this, before I get into the next page in the hadith, we got to stop anyway. Question to everyone. Is it detested? What's the ruling in regards to someone tasting food while they're fasting? Hold on. I asked whether it breaks it or not. I'm asking whether or not can you do it? Hold on. Do you agree? Or you want to add some details? It's Jayid. Huh? Jayid. That's the other detail. What basically to say is for the one who has a need, such as a cook. So, all right, so first thing we'll say, the meaning of the hadith, in regards to the one who eats, firstly, number one, we do say it's not haram. It's detested, however. Just listen. There's detested that one tastes something or taste of food, or taste something of food while he's fasting, such as dates or bread or sauce. Maraq means sauce from meat. إلا إذا كان لحاجة فلا بأس. Except that it's a need for it. A person will say, what does he need? How does a person need to what? To taste food. We're about to say it right now. He says, for example, he says, we bring some type of food, or food was to now. If he tasted it, put it in his mouth, if it goes down to the point where it penetrates his stomach or his intestines, of course we know that will break his what? Fast. And a person, if he tastes the food, this could happen, and he might not realize it. So being him tasting the food, it would be what? Exposing his fast to being invalid. Also, for example, if a person now is I don't want to say greedy, but he's very, very hungry, or he has his appetite is real strong at that particular time. He'll taste it, and he might even go beyond that. He'll go beyond just not tasting. Oh, that was real good. Let me get another one. He says, وَكُونَ مُشْتَهِيًا الطَّعَامِ كَثِيرًا. That he's really now, he has an ishtihah. He has that appetite for food now. He's really desiring it now. Then he might taste it, and he'll continue to taste it until he start to take pleasure and enjoyment and delight in it now. And as a result of it, he might taste it, and he'll eat it, and it's to the point where he might even might taste that food in a manner that is very strong, and he will eventually swallow it. So that's the reason why he said it's detested. He said the only reason why we said that it's a need, he said, for example, a person might be a chef. He needs to taste the food in order for what? To taste whether or not it has enough salt in it, or is it sweet enough, or he buys something from the market and he needs to taste it to make sure it's good, or its freshness is still intact, or what have you. He says, or a woman that she might choose some food for a baby, or what have you, such as a date, to the end of it. That's the needs that we're speaking about. Is it clear, everyone? طيب. What about gum? I know what I'm doing. Tafadhal. What about gum? Can one chew gum while he's fasting? Gum. العلك. مضغ العلك. تفضل. We all came here to learn. We're all students of knowledge. Inshallah. Jade. First, number one, we say it's detested. One should avoid it. Just listen. You should not eat gum. It says, يُكْرَهْ لِلصَّائِمِ أَنْ يَمْضَغَ عِلْكًا قَوِيًّا والقوي هو الشديد الذي لا يتفتت لأنه ربما يتسرب إلى بطنه شيء من طعمه إن كان له طعم. Now listen. It's very detested for the one fasting to chew on gum, especially if it's gum that's strong. What does it mean, strong gum? What does it mean by that? Sweet in its flavor, sweet in its taste. He said, for verily, that strong or sweet gum, he said, could be so severe that it might not break down. And even the ones that break down, that decompose in your mouth, that melts, they're even more dangerous than this one, as far as with your fast, I mean. So one, as far as the one that decomposes or melts in your mouth, that is more that should be avoided. Should be avoided at all costs. He said, for verily perhaps some of the person put in his mouth with the gum will go down in his intestines. As a result of it, it will invalidate his fast. However, now listen. He said, but if it doesn't have like a taste to it, فَلَا وَجْهَ لِلْكِرَاهَةِ وَلَكِنْ مَعَ ذَلِكَ لَا يَنْبَغِي. He said, but however, if it doesn't have any sugar in it or taste in it, it's totally void of this. He says, then we say that there's no problem. Matter of fact, let me take that back. I want to be accurate. That there's la wajha lil kiraha. there's no means to say it's detested. However, it is not befitting that he does that in front of the people. Or he does it at all, especially in front of the people. He said to the point where the people will now have bad thoughts for him. Like, what are you doing? You fasting? You chewing on gum? It just looks very strange. He said to the point where the people will have bad thoughts about him if he used to chew on the gum in front of the people. He says, well, what will make you think that this gum is not strong, or if it's not strong? Meaning it has a strong flavor or it doesn't have a strong flavor? Or that it has some type of taste in it or it doesn't have a taste? He says what might be the result of it is that the people might follow behind you. Well, he has gum. All right, let me get some eat them and go right behind him, chewing some gum. Like me. Knowing that the position that I'm in, if I was to walk in the masjid in the month of Ramadan, chewing on some gum, they're going to be like, what? That's extremely strange. AbdurRazzaaq, you chewing on gum in the month of Ramadan? Hey, what's the problem? As a result of it, you will find maybe Allah's best, some people from the common folk doing what I'm doing. That's why the person has to watch what he does in front of the people, especially if he's a talib al-ilm, because like we said, some people might take you as a role model and will follow behind you. So that's the reason why he said you should avoid it. He said, فَيَمْضَغُ الْعِلْكِ دُونِ اعْتِبَارِ الطَّعْمِ وَعَلَّلَ ذَلِكَ فِي الرَّوْضِ بِأَنَّهُ يَجْلِبُ الْبَلْغَمِ وَيَجْمَعُ الرِّيقِ وَيُورِثُ الْعَطَشِ فَهَذِهِ ثَلَاثُ عِلَلٍ. So whether or not it has some taste in it or it doesn't have taste in it, but does have taste in it, one should avoid eating gum while he's fasting. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Right, we'll stop here. There is certain gums I did take. Was it wax? I think it's some wax. I remember back in the day, I used to chew on with some type of wax. The stuff inside of it. Yeah, after you chew it, it's like there's no flavor to it. Tafadal. They call it murattibat. Murattib. This is going on your lips. Shaykh Uthaymeen has a fatwa that's called murattib. The wisdom gives you moisture to your lips, like chapstick. There's nothing wrong with that. What's going on your lips? What's going on your lips? Huh? That's what we'll discuss next class, inshallah, about gargling and toothpaste. Toothpaste it's detested, but it's not haram. But one, while he's fasting, he has to be very careful not to swallow. Oh, to moisten them out with water or something like that? Just with like water? From what I know, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you just be careful and don't swallow it. As long as you don't swallow it. Any questions about the lesson? Any questions about the lesson? You forgot? طيب استعم هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك